So today we're going to be checking out some Formula One fragrances. Yeah, so these all came out in 2021. We're going to be covering 5 of them here today. And I think these are pretty cool. So Fragrance By not too long ago hit me up and said, hey, we're just going to start carrying these now. Would you be interested in checking them out? And I said, yeah, I'd like to try some samples first. And so they sent me over samples of all of them. I really just wanted to see if they were going to be even worth covering. If they were going to all suck, then I probably wouldn't have been interested. So I got all the samples in, I tried them, and I was impressed. And one of the things that I noticed the most was the quality was really good when you look at the price point of these. So the most expensive one is $51, and all of the others here are $43. So we're talking right in that mid-range to slightly below mid-range, affordable price point, and they all met or even exceeded the quality standards that I would normally expect for those. So I thought that was great. I thought they all smelled really good. Nice mass-pleasing, people-pleaser scents, you know, nothing too crazy that you're not going to be able to pull off. So I hit them back up and I said, yeah, I really liked them. I wouldn't mind covering them. And so they sent me over the entire lineup. And this is the only way that I like to do freebies is when it's a discounter sending them to me, because I have no obligation that way. You know, I can say these suck if they sucked, and, you know, that's not going to hurt anyone's feelings. And so I'm going to go over these today. I'm going to start off with what I think is the best one of the entire line. So let's get into it right now. This one is actually called Overtake 320. So I want to show you this bottle really quickly here. You're probably wondering, okay, that looks really sharp, really cool, but does that just lay down? Like, how does that work? Because, you know, it's pretty thin, and I'll show you. Each bottle that you buy comes with this little rubber stand. It's trying to show you the best way, just like that. So basically, this is how it'll work. It sits just like that, okay? So it's unlike Bulgari Aqua scents, where sometimes you get the little plastic stand if you buy a tester, but if you buy a retail presentation, you don't, and so they just kind of lay like this and take up room. That's not what they did here, which I think is cool. And I really like the bottles. I think they're sleek. I think they're really neat looking. This will definitely be hit or miss for some. Some people are going to hate everything about this. I already know it. But for me, I really don't mind. I think they're pretty cool. So we'll start off with this one and we'll talk about how it smells. Again, I think this is the very best out of the entire line, and it's not even close. So I wanted to start here. This one is going to be the sweetest of the bunch. It's very much a warm, spicy scent. And it's unique because it has this interesting texture about it that you don't really normally get in scents to me. It's all about the cinnamon. There's some orange in here, some woods going on. What it kind of reminds you of when you first spray it actually is Replica by the Fireplace, believe it or not. It's got a little bit of that going on. Not so much with the chestnut, but with the type of almost smoky, creamy, gourmand aspect and almost kind of sweet aspect that that one has going on. This one kind of represents a similar smell there. And when you take a look at the note breakdown, again, it doesn't look like anything like Replica by the Fireplace, but it does have a little bit of that vibe going on. So we'll look at these notes. Up top, we have cinnamon, pepper, pink pepper, and metallic notes. In the mid, we have vanilla, tonka bean, and geranium. In the base, vetiver, patchouli, and guaiac wood. I mean, nothing crazy, nothing unique, nothing special about the notes, but the scent is remarkable. And I haven't really been able to figure out what that texture is that I'm smelling. It must be a combination of this metallic smell mixing with maybe some of the patchouli and vanilla to kind of create this unique blend of like a sweetness with a little bit of this kind of warmth and almost a nuttiness, even though there's no chestnut or anything like that. There's something about this one that I just can't pinpoint. It's kind of weird, kind of frustrating, but that is what it is. A lot of the cinnamon for sure, and the pink pepper for that matter. So it is very much a warm, spicy, very much in the sweet direction. And again, kind of inspired by that Replica by the Fireplace thing going on, but just with its own twist. Some could even say it goes a little bit of a similar Stronger With You direction with the vanilla tonka, but I think that would be a bit of a stretch. I think if you're going to compare it to something, it would be by the Fireplace, but in its own unique way. Smells fantastic off the opening. Smells, to me, even better in the dry down. The further it dries down, the more unique it gets. And again, going back to what I was talking about in the very beginning, the quality is impressive on this one. All of them for that matter, but this one as well. It's smooth, it's rich, it's creamy. It doesn't smell cheap in the slightest. Again, this is the most expensive one, coming in at $50, $51, which to me is not bad at all. That's a no-brainer. I think this one brings a lot to the table for that price. And if you were to look at something like Replica by the Fireplace, those go for like 141 or something, kind of an oddball price. So, you know, if you were just doing it from a price saving standpoint, this would take the cake. But again, I wouldn't even consider this a clone. Still goes in its own direction here. Performance has been around 7 hours on this one. Nothing crazy, but nothing horrible either. Kind of right there in the middle, about average. Okay, what do you want to go with next? We'll do Neum White. Neeum White. Again, the bottle, pretty sharp. You can barely see it with these lights going on. They all have this red little piece going around them, almost like what marks a steering wheel at 12 o'clock. It's got that going on there. And you can feel it. It's like a rubber, kind of cool little touch. So what's this one all about? Well, this is actually going to be the freshest one of the line. It's bright, it's floral, it's citrusy, but when you look at the note breakdown, it could be a little bit confusing, and we'll check that out. So for notes, we have juniper berries, clary sage, and black pepper up top. In the mid, we have iris, lavender, and narcissus. And in the base, we have leather, milk, vetiver, and tonka bean. The notes are weird, okay? You know, it throws you off. It's not nearly as sweet as it looks to be on paper. Again, in fact, it's quite the opposite. It's fresh, it's floral, it's citrusy without there even being citrus listed. There's a lot of aromatics going on in here as well. Not a whole lot of a creaminess despite there being straight up milk, but whatever. A few people have been saying it's kind of like 1 Million Parfum, and I would have to agree with that assessment. Kind of like. Again, I don't think this is a clone of 1 Million Parfum, but I do think it is in a similar vein. There are some clones in here we'll talk about in a second. This is not quite one of them, but I can see where that comparison's coming from. You know, it's the white florals. It's mixing with the sweetness as well, which kind of gives you that impression. You know, this is going to be the closest to a straight up summer one that you would get from this lineup, even though it still isn't, you know, like suited for summertime. It's going to have the most uplifting, bright freshness to it. And I think the bottle suits that very well. Crisp white bottle to match a very bright, you know, white floral type of scent. That's kind of how this one is. Performance on this one around 6 hours or so on average. Nothing crazy, nothing that's all that good, but nothing that's horrendous either. You know, there's some sweetness, some depth going on in the base, but it isn't enough to really push this one super far. These are all eau de toilettes, so you can only expect so much out of that anyway, I suppose. 1 Million Parfum is a parfum. Okay, next up, we're going to go with Turn 1. So there you go, Turn 1. Cool looking bottle on this one. I've got this on this hand here. I was doing a little bit more testing and smelling before I started the video because this is also one that I really enjoy a lot. So the story behind this one is it's supposed to kind of smell like and give you the impression of like a wet asphalt. So wet concrete, cement, whatever, asphalt basically, after it rains. Okay, that's kind of what they were going for. So you might think of it smelling similar to Narciso Rodriguez for Him. You know, that one, not the Blue Noir, just Narciso Rodriguez for Him. Kind of a grayish looking bottle, bluish gray. Discontinued, hard to find. Doesn't smell at all like that. This one actually smells a bit like Sauvage, believe it or not. Yes, it's kind of in that blue fragrance vein. To me, more so Prada Carbon. This one is more smooth. It's more sweet. There is this musky Angelica accord in here to kind of go along with it. But ultimately, that is where this one falls. We'll take a look at those notes. We have Angelica, orange, and aromatic spices up top. In the mid, we have oak moss and violet leaves, and in the base, we have woody notes and patchouli. So to be fair, off the opening, I do think it does a good job of kind of giving you that impression, that wet asphalt type of smell. Going to be coming from the violet leaves in here, and the oak moss to kind of give it this ozonic, watery, kind of green, just airy, you know, kind of musky smell, essentially. You get some of that orange, nice and creamy, musky, but then ultimately it does have some of that metallic, Sauvage, Luna Rosa carbon type of thing going on here. Now, if you're not into blue fragrances, this is one you're going to want to pass on. That being said, if you really can get down with a nice mass-pleasing scent and you would be okay with like a smoother version of a Sauvage blue fragrance type of thing, and you do like the fact that it kind of has that violet leaf wet asphalt inspiration off the opening, this would be one you should check out. For about $40, it's not a bad pickup considering the mass appeal that this one does provide. Performance is right around the 7-hour mark on me as well. Pretty solid. Projection's a little bit soft, but this one's been hanging out on my skin for a while now with no issue. Okay, next up we're going to do Carbon Rain. All right, so this one here, we'll just go into the notes right away because I got them up. Pink pepper, petitgrain, and timber up top. Geranium, lavender, and violet leaves in the mid. Patchouli, amber, and vetiver in the base. Another one that ultimately is very fresh, ozonic, uplifting, bright. This one smells great. Almost has a little bit of a blueberry type of smell. Not like a bleak or street, but it's very much musky, earthy, kind of woody, and that just the way that it comes together here, the violet leaf, it's much stronger in this compared to Turn 1 and just everything else in general. So very much has a cooling, refreshing, uplifting smell. I think this one's going to be, all in all, most suited for spring. So the season that we're officially in now, I can really see this one working because it's cooling, it's refreshing, and it has that type of thing going on that you would come to expect out of a springtime scent. It's even a little bit green as well. I like this one a lot. I mean, the geranium kind of gives off a green mintiness. The petitgrain is there, which is kind of like a little neroli tinge. The lavender to a pretty heavy extent. It is very aromatic. The violet leaves, it's what it's almost all about, with a little bit of pink pepper off the top. Really like this one a lot. And again, it's something that is going to be very refreshing for you overall and will also hold up on cooler days, but also you could stretch this one into some warmer days with no issue. Gets compared to, looks like not First Instinct, Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce. I don't really get that comparison. It's not quite to that level of all the oak moss and musk overload. But I guess I can kind of see where they're coming from with the violet leaf. And that's about all that wouldn't make sense with the comparison. Very aromatic, very fresh and spicy. This is a nice one as well. It's an eau de toilette. A little bit better performance on this one for me here recently. I think there's just the base of this one really seems to hold up better than some of the others. It's around that 7-hour mark as well. Last up, we're going to be checking out is Precious Metal. Yeah, so this one here is all about the kind of metallic notes, as you could probably imagine. A little bit of orange going on in here. It's another one that actually smells a bit like Sauvage/Carbon. It's not going to be for everybody, but it does have orange, pink pepper, lavender, leather, oak moss, woody notes, amber, vetiver, and patchouli in this one. So yeah, guys, Sauvage DNA. And it's bizarre that they had two of them like that, but that's just kind of how it ended up. And so that's how it is, I guess. This one's going to be creamier and more smooth overall. A little bit sweet, so it's a sweeter Sauvage. And again, more so to me, it's Carbon because it doesn't have all that pepper and it's got an orange instead. There's no bergamot in here. It's like a sweet, creamy Carbon is how I would describe this one. And for sure, it is very metallic. Ultimately, it's going to be mass-pleasing like no other. This is going to get a ton of compliments. It's going to smell great pretty much all year around. You can work this one into summer, no problem, I would say. And that sweetness is really nice. I want to look at the notes one more time because when I'm smelling it here, I can get some, maybe some of the patchouli. But yeah, for sure, it smells great. Longevity is right around the 6-7 hour mark on this one as well. Eau de toilette concentration. Nothing to write home about. Nothing horrendous either. For about $40, I would say it's about on par with what I would expect. The quality, though, with all of these does exceed that $40 price point to me. They smell more expensive than that, and I think that's pretty cool. The bottles are nice. The presentation is neat all the way around. Something I want to show you that's also really cool is Fragrance By sent these along as well. It's called Decanted. So I want to show you this really quick. If you are someone who likes the idea of carrying a decant on you, but you don't like the idea of making it yourself, and you don't want to go out and buy them, this takes all of the work out of it for you. Pretty sure this costs you about $11. It's a 10 ml decant, and here's what you get. I just dropped something important. But you get a little pin, which will be important in a second. You get a label, hence why you have the pin, so you can label it yourself. And let's see. Now for the important part. Let's get this puppy out. And let's get this. You've got the actual decant itself. 10 ml. There's your atomizer. There's the bottom. Okay, I've already used it. I've already started filling it up because I wanted to make sure it was something that was going to be easy, and it is. So I'm going to show you on camera how easy it is to decant your own stuff with Decanted. Pull your cap off. Pull your atomizer off. This is going to be a shock if I don't drop this bottle. I'm sure you guys are hoping that I do. And there you go. You're left with that. Okay, your atomizer. We're having focusing issues already. So here's what you do, guys. Take your little piece of rubber. It's hard to see, but it's right there. That comes with the decanted kit. You put that on there. You take this, and now you just start pushing it down. I don't know how well you can see that, but each time you push it, it's filling up. Can you see it fill up? And that's all you do. Now, ideally, you would be doing this on a table, and you would just sit there and pump it up. But you could see I already got a decent amount in. You just keep doing that for as much as you want, and you can decant your own stuff. It doesn't make a mess. It doesn't get all over the place, and now you can take this with you. It's super easy. Okay, guys, there you have it for me. That is the Formula F1 lineup. Again, by far, Overtake 320 is the best one. I think that's the one to get if you guys are looking to get one. I will link them all down below, and along with the decanted thing there. If you want to pick that up, you can do so as well. And if you stayed to the very end, there's a giveaway. You can win a 10 ml decant from the Decanted of your choice of these if you want. So one lucky winner. You got to be in the US or Canada. Leave a comment down below. In about a week, I'll randomly pick one, and then they'll send you over a decant of your choice in one of those decanted things. You'll be able to check it out for yourself. It's really cool. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.